Have you ever wondered about the process of how do you heal from narcissistic abuse? Join me today as I talk through three of the main concepts, three of the things that we work with people to break you free from abuse every single day. If you're new here, my name is Ben Taylor. I'm a self-aware narcissist on this channel to provide awareness from the narcissistic perspective of what's actually happening behind the scenes. In doing this, it's enabled me to give people closure and to help them have the tools and the steps to move forward in breaking free from toxic narcissistic abuse. When you think about this, there's times where you emotionally feel stuck, like you can't actually leave, like you're worried about when he comes home, how he's going to be responding, if you're going to get manipulated again. And the list goes on and on of the things you're feeling. If I can help you work through those, then go to rawmotivations.com. We'll love to partner with you in helping you break free mentally, emotionally, even physically from the toxic person. So go to rawmotivations.com today. When we talk through this piece of healing, typically the questions are, hey, how do you heal and how long is it going to take me? This is one of the hardest things because we've found that most people that are very determined to heal fast heal the slowest. Just how it is. Seen this with over 2,000 people that I've talked to. We've seen this with hundreds of people in different challenges and programs that we've run. The people that want the healing the fastest typically prolong it the longest because they're so focused on the end result. They're so focused on get me back to who I used to be that you don't uncover who you actually are. That you don't uncover who you actually are becoming. The version of you that used to be doesn't exist anymore. I don't say that to be mean, but I say that to wake you up. The version of you, the person that showed up with confidence, the way you used to show up with confidence, would still fall into the same trap that you fell into. So we need to develop a newer version of you. We need to develop a stronger version of you. Not just in power and confidence, but one that understands these things and it has the tools equipped to be able to handle the triggers and to be able to handle the daily obsessive thinking, to be able to handle not getting sucked back into the toxic relationship or cycle through another toxic relationship. Like there's a lot of things that need to change because the old version of you fell into this shit. So just getting back to the old version of you is not enough. It's time to grow, develop, change, transform who you've been to who you are becoming. There's a couple different ways that we're going to do that. First off, the first aspect is breaking the story that you believe. Shattering your illusions of the relationship. This is one of the most painful and the hardest things you're going to go through is having different pieces of the relationship get broken down in your mind and understanding, wait a second, that wasn't real. You're like, but it felt real, but I liked it, but we were great together, but the sex was good. No, you need to understand all of those things are fabrications to get a desired result, to keep you trapped, to keep you stuck, to keep you under the narcissist's control. That's it. But we have to shatter that illusion. We have to shatter the story that you believe. If we cannot break the story you believe, then we cannot help you. If you are stuck in the frame of reality that this is the only thing that you believe is your perspective of that relationship, not the facts about how he treated you, not the facts about how he loved you, not the facts about how he demonstrated things on a day-to-day basis that were abusive. If you cannot acknowledge the facts, there is no hope in you getting healing. Some of you don't like that I said that. That's okay. The truth of the matter is we have to break down the story that you believe, and we can only do that based on the facts because your truth, your perception does not matter. His truth, his perception does not matter. The only thing that matters in your healing process is the facts because the facts are the only thing that are supportive to help you believe the correct story of what's going on. Because otherwise you'll believe a story that is not based on fact, but is based on fiction, but is based on a fantasy that you have concocted, that he has enabled, that he has instated into your life, and you start to believe the fairy tale version that he sold you when it's not reality. So the first crucial step towards healing is unraveling the narrative that was created by the narcissist and sometimes reinforced by the narcissist and sometimes created and reinforced by you. It involves challenging your distorted reality that they imposed upon you. Understanding, wait a second, the love that he said, but how he demonstrated and how he acted didn't match up. It wasn't real. This is one of the hardest things. It's acknowledging this. Recognizing that the narrative of your own inadequacy and worthlessness was installed by a narcissist. It was instilled through their toxic line of thought process of thinking, of putting this on you. It's a fabrication designed to maintain control over you. You're not worthless. You're not hopeless. You're not alone. And you're not crazy. But you'll be led to feel that way. Sometimes breaking the story is breaking down the pieces that felt good, like I mentioned at the beginning of this. Breaking down the piece that felt, but it was amazing. Was it really? Oftentimes we view it as like a triangle, or as like a peak of a mountain. And there's this moment at the top that's good, that's wonderful, that's amazing, that's connected. But then on either side, it cascades down into the negative reality of what you are currently living in. One of the illustrations I always give is you had a great dinner out, great moment. But it was sandwiched in from him degrading the dress that you wore, him screaming at you in the car afterwards. But you don't want to remember that. You want to only look at, but it was a great meal. We had a great conversation. Did you really? Or is that what your mind wants to make you believe, so you don't admit the things that actually happened before and after? The second thing that we have to step into is breaking the trauma bond. And this is cutting the invisible chains that have you tied to this other person. The toxicity that has brought this bond that makes it feel like you can't get free, that makes it feel like it's impossible to live without him, that makes it feel like you are stuck no matter what, mentally and emotionally, because the narcissist has created this strong emotional bond, like a chain that wraps around you and ties you back to him. And as he continues to sink further and further into muck, he just keeps dragging you down further and further and further. The trauma bond, sometimes we'll talk about it with like you're believing in the hope and the potential of him. You're looking at the cognitive dissonance of like, I don't know what to believe, his words or his actions. You're like, hey, it feels good and then it feels bad. It feels good and it feels bad. And the intermittent reinforcement is keeping you stuck for such a long period of time. Breaking the bond is essential for healing. If you don't break the bond, there's no freedom for you. This is what we focus on inside the Clarity Challenge, because we have to walk people through in almost like the first couple weeks of it, step by step by step, how to break the bond. Because if you don't break it, then you will stay stuck. We've seen people that have come in that have engaged for a period of time and they're like, yep, this is too hard. And they walk away from it and they still stay stuck. Because until you change the story that you believe, until you break the trauma bond that actually has you tied, tethered together, you will always be stuck with a toxic person, thinking that you're not good enough, thinking that you're worthless, thinking that you can't do any better, thinking that no one will love you, thinking that this is the only option. You sell yourself short that on a planet of billions of people, this is the only person that can make your life complete. He has sold you that reality. He has sold you that trauma. He has locked it in with a bond. And until you break it, you will always stay stuck. Consider the emotional roller coaster that you've been on, alternating between cruelty, between false kindness. Recognizing the trauma bond means more than just recognizing the cycle, but then it's consciously choosing to detach from it, to no longer be a pawn in the machine that just keeps going around in circles over and over and over again. But this comes down to the third point that we have to focus on, is that this whole piece of you healing and healing quickly, the time factor depends on the investment you make into the new you. Investing in your liberation. I'm not just talking money. That is a financial investment. If you work with us, that's a financial investment. If you work with a therapist, that's a financial investment. You need to make an investment into you. It doesn't make sense where a lot of people expect healing and like it doesn't cost anything. Everything in life costs. So what are you willing to actually pay for your freedom, for your liberation? It's not just about money, but it's also about the time that you actually invest. Some people are like, well, why am I not healing? And I'm like, well, how much time have you been spending on this? And they're like, so much time. And then we look at it and it's actually not that much time. And I'm like, how do you expect to actually have any healing when you're not actually doing the work required, when you're not actually journaling, when you're not actually writing things down, when you're not actually meditating, when you're not actually getting free of the negative thoughts that narcissists impose upon you through the processes that either we teach or other people teach? If you're not doing the work, it's not going to work. And so sometimes people are like, I'm all in, but then they only put 5 minutes in a day and they expect to get healed. It doesn't work that way. It's like you break your leg and you're supposed to do physical therapy for like an hour a day and you do it 5 minutes a day and you wonder a year from now why you still have a limp. It's because you didn't do what's required. You see, the time of your healing depends on the investment you make into you. The duration of the healing varies for every single person because some people are more bought in. Some people are more willing to dive in. You're like, well, that doesn't seem fair. You're saying some people win and some people don't. Yeah, that's the world we live in. Some of you don't like this. The reality is the people that are looking for the healing the fastest, the fast path, the quick aspect, the shortcut, the hack to healing, there is none. There's you showing up and there's you putting in the work and it's you doing what's required to heal. And then there's the other version of you that doesn't and is looking for the easy way out. There is no easy way out when we approach the aspect of healing. There is no easy way out when we talk about this aspect of transformation. There is only hard, daily, consistent work. That's easy, that's simple, but it's also hard. Are you willing to actually do that? It's not about the amount of time. It's not about just how quickly can you get through this. It's about the intentional investment that you make into rediscovering and to nurturing yourself. This is why I refer to it as a journey. It is not a destination. This is not an arrival place that you're excited to get to and everything's healed and better and amazing. It's a healing journey where you're engaging in self-care and coaching and therapy and personal development and in group support, all these different things. The faster you'll emerge from the shadows of narcissistic abuse when you go all in into you. Not into learning, not into understanding, not into knowledge, but into transforming you. It's the part that people get confused on. Because they think that knowledge equals healing when knowledge doesn't do anything if it's not applied in a practical way that gives you the tools to deal with the triggers, to overcome the abuse, and to live with a life with purpose. That's what we offer, and that's how we guide people inside of the 45-day Clarity Challenge. If you want to know more about that, you can go to claritychallenge.net. You can listen to survivors that have already gone through the challenge and who have been liberated, who have been freed from the toxicity that they've been in. If you want to talk to me about accelerating that process even faster with either one-on-one coaching or group coaching or some of the opportunities that we offer, you can go to rawmotivations.com. We'd love to help you move forward. If you haven't already, hit subscribe, like, rate, review if you're listening to the podcast as well. Love to be able to hear from you. Send this to someone else who might be struggling with this as well, because you never know how you can send the gift of healing to someone else as well.